can refer to this one, refers to the NMOS, okay? But the process is not as complex as NMOS. For example, in the first several steps, right? It's similar to the NMOS. You start from the bare silicon, right? And then you have the pan oxide form. But since you are joining the Schottky die, so you do not need the GaN oxide. So you can, but you need to join here. Let me check. So the pan oxide form, so this is for the MOS, right? And there you have the silicon nitride. So this silicon nitride can help you to remove the silicon dioxide in the region for the Schottky diode. Okay, so then from here we can create a region, open the region and remove the yes, we need to create a region to remove the silicon dioxide. Okay, but here, remove the silicon dioxide. And then we have the failed oxide form, the thermal oxidation, that is for the isolation. And this part also has been removed. Okay, and this part has been removed. Oh, sorry, I think we need to add more components. It's not that easy. So we form here, okay, after nitride mask stripping, we need another silicon nitride mask, which can help us to remove the silicon dioxide here. To remove this silicon dioxide to help us to create a region for the Schottky diode. So then we can go back. So this is a region. You can see that without silicon dioxide. And then, okay, so this part without silicon dioxide. For here, we can jump to here to use ion implantation or the diffusion, right? This region, we can create the N-wear. Okay, so we create N-wear, and then we need another mask. Also the silicon nitride, right? Make the silicon nitride cover this region to create another N-positive region here. Okay, so then we can jump here to form the isolation layer prepared for the two terminals. So we can cover the whole structure with dielectric material, and then etch this region, right? Etch the region which contact with the N-wear, another contact with the N-positive region. Then you can move to here, the contact layer, right, formed by the lithography and IE. Then the metal deposition, sputtering, to form the terminals, and then the metal patterning. Okay, so you can see that the Schottky diode, the whole fabrication process flow is compatible. It's compatible to the NMOS and CMOS. Let's go back, check it again. Okay, so we can see here. So actually, we do not need extra step. Sorry, I think we do not extra step. So think, look at here. This is the beginning, the thin silicon dioxide, right? For the mole structure, So for here, yes, we need extra step. So let's go back. Sorry, I did not prepare the details, but I think we can do the multiplication from this part. Okay, so let me repeat again. So the Schottky dot fabrication process is compatible with NMOS and CMOS. Right? So the only difference is that we need to create the region for the unaware and the unpositive doping. So then, how to do that? We can add extra step. Okay, add extra step to remove the silicon dioxide in a certain region to open the area for the Schottky diode. If we do not open it, so then that region will go to the following step for the NMOS and the CMOS. Right? We remove the silicon dioxide, and then we can use the unaware building similar to the NMOS, right? So we can create the unaware. And also for the unpositive, we also can do that step with the with the NMOS, okay, with the NMOS. So we can do the ion implantation, but we need the silicon dioxide mask, right? Silicon dioxide mask. And then the following step will be similar as the NMOS. After removing the mask silicon dioxide, then we're going to deposit the LDO, right? The oxidation layer for the to provide the isolation between the cones and also the top layers. And then we open the layers using the IE and lithography to get the connection to the unaware and unpositive. And the following step, I think, is the same as NMOS. Okay, so to answer that question, you need to remember the fabrication process flow of NMOS and the PMOS. Okay, so for the mask, I think you only need to provide the cross-section view, okay, and for the top view, we can see it here. Okay, so this is the top view. This is the silicon nitride, right? Silicon nitride mask. After depositing the silicon nitride, we use silicon nitride mask to pattern the silicon nitride. And then we use the silicon nitride as the mask for hard mask for oxide growing. So then we can form this pattern. It can help us to provide isolation. Right? And then we can deposit the polysilicon. This is the polysilicon. They're working as the electrons, the metal tip for the NMOS and CMOS. So in this part, we also need the mask to do the etching. Right? And then there's another mask you use to etch the silicon dioxide, the isolation layer, to form the layer, to build the connection between the doped region and to the outside circuit. Then we can fill in the metal. In this step, we deposit the metal, and then we use the mask to do the lithography to form the patterns, to pattern the electrons. So that in the end, we can get this kind of structure, 3D structure. But I think in your final exam, you do not need to draw the 3D, but the cross section and the top view. Okay, so let's go back. Okay, for the part 2, we also have some other like these examples for the process flow drawing. So label the names of each name and each process step you draw. So in the philosophical step, cross section of the mask should be indicated. So for example, we may ask you to draw the fabrication process flow of the low-cost isolation. So this is the silicon, then how to get the local oxidation patterns. The local oxidation of the silicon isolation, so which is here, so you need to remember these steps. Okay, so I think it is straightforward, right? So these steps. Okay, so I think the final exam, the difficulty will between the local oxidation and this one. Okay, I think this is a little bit hard. I'm going to decrease the difficulty of this one. There are too many steps here. Okay, so these are all the examples of the final exam. Any questions? These are some questions comes from the last year. Some questions comes from the last year.
How many like average marks for application pressure level?
You mean
Like
the
the
part 4?
process flows and the terminology.
You mean how many masks?
Yeah, per question.
I think around in average around 5,
Around
4 to 5, around 4 to 5.
For the terminology.
It's for the whole fabrication process flow. 4 to 5. I think the 4. Because for this question, I think the mask is 1, right? Only 1 mask is needed. It's very straightforward. Only 1 mask. And for the 4 N-moles, I think it's around 4 to 5. Right. So for example here, this one is 4 masks. The first mask for the local oxidation, and then the mask for the MOS structure, then the mask for the beers, then the mask for the electrons. Right? 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is simplified fabrication process flow for the N-moles. I think this picture, these slides are very important. It's very important. Okay, so yeah, this is a fabrication process flow. We discussed discussed briefly last week. Right? This also showed you the cross-section view, but we will not ask you to into all these details. Just show you the example. Okay, so I think for the last part 4, if you can remember all the principal steps in the single N-moles, I think we should be fine. Okay. Okay, so let's have a quick review of the typical fabrication process flow of the simple N-moles. We start from the bare silicon wafer, then we need the next step always come with the gas oxide formation. So we can see that for the N-moles and the P-moles, we always start fabrication the mole structure first. Okay, then based on the mole structure, we can remove the other areas silicon dioxide for the doping. So there are several key points. I think you need to, the knowledge point you need to remember. For example, how would you like to form this oxide layer? This oxide layer is for the gas oxidation. So we always want to use oxidation, not the CVD, because the oxidation give us the higher quality compared to the CVD, no matter PCVD or LPCVD. Okay, so then we may ask the question how to oxidize, how to achieve the oxidation layer for the gate. And then you need to understand why do we use the polysilicon in the MOS structure, right? And how to form the polysilicon. For polysilicon, we can use the CVD method, right? Because we do not need, it has a good quality. Polysilicon is not used for the isolator, but as a metal, right? And then how to patent the polysilicon? We have IE, right? And why not patent the oxide first? It is, I think this part we also have discussed. Think about it, why not patent oxide first? We discussed this in the lecture. So we patent the polysilicon before the gas oxide patent. So why? Why not patent the oxide first? I think we discussed this and we call it double alignment or auto alignment, which means that we can, after patenting the polysilicon, we can use this polysilicon as a hard mask to patent the silicon dioxide. So we can get perfect alignment. If we patent the oxide, get oxide first, then we need to do the perfect alignment to make sure that the polysilicon can be aligned. The patent polysilicon can be aligned with the gas oxide. Okay, and please check the slides. We write down all the key points in the slides. Then how to patent oxide, the IE, right? The reactive ion action. And then how to dot the silicon. We have a diffusion, ion implementation. We also have different sources. And all these things you need to think about it. So for here, you also need to understand the difference between diffusion and ion implantation. So for the diffusion, you need to remove the silicon dioxide layer. But for the ion implantation, so you can see that we can keep the silicon dioxide thin film due to the large energy from the implanter. So the dopant can be accelerated by the implanter to get sufficient energy to go through the thin silicon dioxide layer. So if we use the ion implantation, we can do the implantation before the gas oxide catching. Did you see the difference? Do you see the difference between the diffusion and ion implantation? So let me repeat. For the diffusion, we do not want that silicon dioxide because silicon dioxide will work as a mask. So if we use a diffusion, we need to remove a certain area of the silicon dioxide and then do the diffusion, two-step diffusion, right? And if we can use the ion implantation, we do not need to worry about the thin film silicon dioxide because the thickness here is thick, right? But the polysilicon here is thick, so the thick polysilicon can help us to prevent the implantation. So with the help of ion implantation, we can define the doping region first, and then to remove the silicon dioxide. Okay, so here is the process, right? So for here we can see that this process uses ion implantation, but we also can remove this region to use the diffusion part, which we discussed here, which we discussed on the Schottky diode application. And for here, you need to understand the mask, right? The cross-section view or the top view. I think it's straightforward. Okay, so let's have a summary. Okay, let's have a summary. for the fabrication, so you can see that even the pictures looks complex, but can be categorized into three types. One is the film formation, then the patterning, and the film removal. So we only have three modules, and we just repeat the three modules and to get the IC fabrication. And under the three modules, we have discussed all these key points which are widely used in the IC fabrication. So due to the limited time, I think this 3D image you can go back to check. Okay, I put these 3D images here to help you to understand IC fabrication. So sometimes the 2D may not be sufficient. So straightforward from the bare silicon, and then we have the pad oxide deposition. Always, for the most, we always have the pad oxide deposition at the beginning because we need to use the oxidation, not the CVD, to get the high quality silicon thin film to guarantee the threshold voltage. And then always we need the nitrogen, silicon nitrogen as a hard mask. So we deposit the silicon nitrogen and then we coat the PR for the lithography. Right? Again, to pattern any material, we always need the PR to do lithography. PR explosion and development. Then we can etch the pattern the silicon nitride. So then we can get the silicon nitride pattern as a mask to working as to protect the region without the implantation. And so for here we use the ion implantation because we do not etch or remove the thin silicon dioxide. Then we can get the wear. Okay, so then we do the local oxidation of the silicon. And also in the high temperature, we can drive in the dopants to make the dopant region larger. So after that, we have the function of the silicon nitride has been used. So then we can remove the silicon nitride, and also we can remove the silicon. Okay, so next, after removing that, we also can do some surface implantation. Okay, so to grow another layer of silicon dioxide. Then repeat, right, to etch the silicon nitride as a hot mask, then use a hot mask to get the local oxidation of the silicon for the good isolation between different devices. Then again, we can use the PR for the ion implantation. Use the PR as a mask for the ion implantation if we decrease the temperature. I think in the lecture we discussed that we can do the ion implantation in the room temperature. It is in the room temperature, then the PR can be used as a mask. Okay, so then we can remove the silicon dioxide to reduce the oxidation. You can see we can do different types of silicon dioxide, different steps of the silicon dioxide thin film formation for different purposes. Okay, so then the next step, we can use the polysilicon deposition. So before you can see that all these oxidation are based on the thermal oxidation, not the CVD, because we want to have a good quality. But for the silicon nitride, we can use the PECVD method, which can be done in the low temperature and with faster deposition speed compared to the silicon dioxide oxidation. Okay, so to get oxidation, then we use the polysilicon. Okay, so then we can get the gap, right? the gap metal based on the polysilicon. Then we do another round lithography, right, for the indentation. Okay, so you can see that with different lithography, we get different types of docking region, right? Different types of docking region. So this one we can get here is N-type, right? Then we remove the PR, use another mask to get another types of region. So then you can see that use the polysilicon as a mask to protect the mole structure. We can remove the silicon dioxide in other region to open the connection to the outside. So before that, we still need another LTO deposition, which can work as a isolation layer isolation layer between the first layer and the second layer metal. Then the vias, right, get the connection to the N-type and the P-type regions, to the source, to the draw, and the gate. For example, here is the gate, right? These vias are for the gate, and these vias is for the source and the draw. The gate is here, but typically we have the connection to the outside. Because if you have the metal on the top, this may affect the threshold. So that's the reason why it's always have the connection or the leading line to the outside. Okay, so after filling the metal, and then we put the etching method to pattern the metal. So yeah, this is the gate, right? This is source. Okay, so this is a very complex process, a standard process. It's more complex than the one we discussed in the lecture. Okay, but it's just for your reference. It's just for your reference. So in your final exam, you can use a simplified one. So here, I just want to show you how complex for a simple NMOS and PMOS. Okay, so you can see that to guarantee the quality, we need to do multiple times of, you can see how many times of oxidation we have done, one, right? And second, we have done 2 times of thin film zinc dioxide to guarantee the quality. Okay, and we use the PR for the indentation. Okay, so and also in these slides you can see that I have uploaded all the questions and the answers of the electric physics. So please read these slides, read these questions, and understand the answers. And it covers most of the knowledge in these lectures. Local observation, right? There's so many repeated terms. And I'm pretty sure after reading the slides, your memory will be enhanced. You also need to understand the different etching, the wet etching and the dry etching. This figure definitely you need to remember. And you need to understand the difference between all these different etching methods. Okay, so the mask. So again, this is the bright mask, right? This is the bright mask we used in the lab because these patterns are non-transparent. Sure, you need to understand the alignment and also the coverage, the step coverage. There are several challenges during the material deposition. Okay, I think it is straightforward. I think even we have so many slides, but it is very straightforward. Okay, so I think let me use the last 5 minutes.